continue. Take a square and a triangle, and maybe a square and a circle, and a circle and a triangle. Why? I don't know, because I always do. You want to try some different shapes for these things, you can. What's important to me is that you use each of the Pathfinders and use them in order, because it's going to be easy for you when I have you do the next thing, which is I want labels on all of them so that you know exactly what they are. What relationship do I want these? I might want to neatly center these. We'll move this up some. And the next item, Pathfinder palette, is the divide. And this will divide this into three objects. A square with a triangle cut out of it, truncated triangle, and a smaller triangle. So I do that. And you see a black line form there. You don't know exactly what's happened, but if you double click on this to go into isolation mode, and I'm going to just use my arrows on the keyboard to move these apart, you can see what it's done. And if I'd done that in the opposite order, if I'd had the square on the top, then this would be a red triangle instead of a yellow triangle. The top, I'm referring to layer order. So for example, I'm going to select these, and you'll see by this blue square where that is in the layer order. These are down here. If I want the circle on the top, I could drag this above that red square. Was that the one? It is.
Or using the keyboard, Command on the Mac or Control on the PC, and the open or closed bracket keys. Command open goes down one in the layer order. Command closed goes up one in the layer order.
If I do Command Shift, bracket, open bracket or close bracket, it'll go either all the way down or all the way to the top. And you can demonstrate that here. I'll select these two, and you see them right there. And if I go to the top and Command Shift close bracket, you now see that they're at the top of the layer order, or the object order in the layer. When you make any of these objects, this is still two objects. Well, it will be. Let's see. This one should be trim. So if I trim this, it's next one here, trim, it makes a group. So this is now a group of objects. You can see right here, let me pull this out so you can regroup. This is a group. This is a compound shape. It's this one, but this is a group. And as a group, you could select individual items in the group this way, or you can use the direct select tool and don't select a corner or an edge of it, but select within the fill, and then you can move it. Or you can, using the main selection tool or object select tool, the black arrow, double click on this, go into isolation mode on the group, and then you can move them independently. And then when you double click to get out of that, it's once again a group, and so you can use that for centering the groups. The last one in this row is merge. Let's see, how would I like those to merge? Well, I'll merge them about like this, I guess. And let's try the merge and see what it does. Okay, that's merged. And merge, if I double click on this and go into isolation mode, you can see that it's really sort of like the last one we just did, the trim. Why exactly you need different ones of these, I'm not sure. Maybe in a more complex situation, you might have other items that you combine in different ways where merge works better for you than trim. So it just kind of depends on the situation, but you should know each of these. So that's merge. And I'm running out of objects, so I'll have to bring a few more in here. Let's see, what did I do on this one? Okay, then I did a circle and a square. When I did this for the instruction sheet, I used two circles for the next step, which is crop. But maybe I should use a square and a circle, or a square and a triangle. Let's see, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit larger. And then maybe I'll center these. Make sure that selection, okay, center in both directions. Well, that didn't center in both directions. No, okay, there we go. Okay. Let's try crop. And just out of curiosity, let's put this one in the back. Actually, move both of those to the top of my layer order and do crop. So that's what crop is doing. And I don't know how interesting that is. We'll undo that one. Put this to the back again. And let's try crop again. Let's shift that back behind those. Some strange logo that way. Okay, so that's crop, and you can try other combinations of things. You can try as much experimentation as you want on this. What I want you to end up with is one 8.5 by 11 page that has each of these Pathfinders and each of the shape modes demonstrated in the order in which they appear on Pathfinder. 2 to go, and they are outline. So again, I just about always use squares for this. Maybe I should use something else. Let's try one of these and one of those. I'll select both of these, give it an outline. And the outline, and again, this may work in more interesting ways on things other than these shapes. It might work in a more interesting way on letter forms or something. But for this, it is an object that has a 0 stroke. So you might want to add a stroke to that of, say, at least a point or two, maybe 3 points. Let's say 3 points. So that's what that looks like. And I'm already happier with that because I'm tired of seeing that pair of squares always looking the same. Final item is a minus back, and I'm not sure why they added this because minus back, minus front, they're basically doing the same thing. And if you don't want it to be minus front with the object you have in front, you can always put that behind the other object. And also, this one being a Pathfinder and not a shape mode, this one does not have that subpath option where if you hold the Option or Alt key, you can further edit that combination of shapes. Just about I always use a triangle and a square on that one, so that might be boring, but I don't know, I'll just go ahead and do it. Okay, so here are my 2 objects, and if I do minus front, it looks like that. If I change the, excuse me, that's minus back, it's minus back, so I'm going to put this one in the back, and if I now select both of these and do minus back, it looks like that. Okay. To get these neatly organized, I would like you to make sure that you've got enough room within the artwork before you get to the bottom margin to put a label in, and that will establish where your last row is. I'll select all of these, and with my align palette, evenly distribute those. Actually, not worried about distribution. I take that back. I'm going to align them horizontally. Vertically, I want to take everything that's in the first column, hold the Option key, Option or Alt key, and click on the top object to make it the key object, and then center them based on the key object, and distribute the space. Let's try about a 1/2 inch. Okay, distribute space, so there's a 1/2 inch between all of those. I have the top row distributed the way I want them horizontally. I have the first column distributed the way I want it vertically. So I will make sure that these align to this square as a key object. And then again, if I want to be consistent, I should select these 2 and bottom align that one so only the circle is center aligned on that. These here, it's not as important, so I'll Option click on this and then center align those and select all of these. Option click on the first one, center align those, drag across these 3 and Option click on the first one and center align those. When you have all of those done, you need to go back and type labels for them. It's specified as, I think, 12-point Myriad. What I tell you to do is use the default typeface and size with the type tool. Now, when you're doing type, there are two ways of doing type in terms of just this basic T type tool. One is you drag a shape and it fills up with placeholder text, and this is for creating paragraph text. But if you're doing labels or display composition like headlines or posters or things like that, you don't want paragraph text, you want headline text. You would just click. The difference is that this, if I shift and drag constraining proportions so I don't like distort it like that, it will scale the type. If I drag a rectangle and have placeholder text and scale this rectangle, it changes the size of the paragraph, but it does nothing to alter the text. In this particular case, I'd like it to be display composition, and it should be, and let's see, characters, paragraph, doesn't quite show in here. Command T will give me the character palette, and you can see the default is Myriad Pro, regular, 12-point, auto kerning, and 0 tracking. You can just leave it as the default settings. You can see that the bounding box fits exactly to whatever type there is, and that's handy because you would probably like this to be centered, center aligned, and then center it. Again, Alt or Option click on this, align, center. And if you have this as, Alt drag that to make a copy of that and make this left align text. And if the paragraph alignment is left and I try to align that, well, that still works. Okay, but if I use the paragraph text, if I click and drag and then type unite in there, and this is left aligned, depending on what size my rectangle is, if I align that, it's not going to center. So using the display composition and having exactly the type size you want and center aligned will eliminate the possibility of not having proper alignment when you use the align functions. That's how you do one. You can align these the same way that you align the other stuff. You could drag, shift, and Alt and let go of everything, and then, excuse me, that's the wrong one. This should be minus front. And these are supposed to be down here. And then this should be centered under that one. And I don't know if I distributed space on these or not, I can't remember. Let's try distribute centers. Okay, and then certainly when I do my type, I can double check by distributing center. Shift drag this over here, Alt let go, so I know these are aligned this way. And this one is intersect. And this one is exclude, etc. So you would put labels on all of these, make sure that the label is centered under the item. That's centered. Make sure you got even rows and even columns so that it looks like you planned this, because a design is a plan. Once you have all the labels, you can save it as your last name DL2A as an AI file, your last name DL2A.ai, and also as a PDF, which makes it easier for me to grade them, your last name DL2A.pdf. Save it as a default Illustrator PDF. I need both the files to check the things that I need to check and to be able to communicate to you whether or not you have done it successfully. Set that aside and go on to DL2B.